All right. Speaking of heavyweights, the case for Andy Ruiz. Now, I think Andy Ruiz is a heavyweight that has a lot of potential, but I think the thing that he lacks is a lot of discipline. I don't. He can get himself into, top shape for an out of shape guy, and that's really what you're seeing. He's not in top shape. He's carrying around way too much baggage. I mean, I think he's got to come in below 235 pounds. I think he's got to come in between 225 and 230 to really find out what he can achieve. He's packing way too much weight. That affects his quick twitch muscle response. It affects his ability to spring back and forth. Even though he can do it for a big guy, that's not what his potential is. That's just what he can do for an out of shape dude. For an out of shape guy, he can do pretty well, but he's never going to find out just how far he can go. He's always going to be one of those guys that's just kind of hovering around contender status, but he's not going to be one of the top guys. Not like this. And here is, in my opinion, I think he's got more talent than Joseph Parker. I think he's a more talented fighter. I think if he were in top shape, if he weren't packing around, 50 extra pounds, he probably would have won that fight decisively because he'd be able to throw more punches, he'd be lighter on his feet, and he'd have more stamina. He's carrying around a whole extra person there. And what he needs to do is he needs to shed that weight. If he wants to move forward, because right now he's static. He is static in the division. He'll beat guys that are lesser, but he's not going to beat the top guys until he gets into top shape. Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, even Joseph Parker, right now, their conditioning is a level above his. And it's because they're training to be the best they can be. And I'm not saying he doesn't train hard, and he doesn't work at his craft, but there's a level that he hasn't reached yet, but it's there. And if he actually pushed himself and got himself to that level, I think he could be one of the top, if not the top fighter, because he's tough. I think he could be a great pressure fighter. If work on his head movement, his footwork, his defense, his timing, but he's got to shed the pounds, man. Without shedding those pounds, he's a static heavyweight, and he's not going to move up or down. He's just going to be hovering right there. But like I said, a potential diamond in the rough. But he's got to discipline himself to get to that next level, and that's on his trainers. It's on his promoters. They can't be complacent and say, "Hey, listen, yeah, you're in shape for an out of shape guy." That just that you've got a guy there that in his heart wants to be a champion, and he wants to be the best fighter he can be, but if he doesn't have people around him that are pushing him to do that, to become that, then he's never going to achieve it, because you can't do it on your own. Fighters can't do this on their own. They need a good crew, a good team surrounding them that's going to make sure that they're in top shape, and not just top shape for an out of shape guy, but at top shape for a real live contender, a real live, potentially great fighter. And I don't know if he has that potential, because we don't know because we've never seen this dude in top shape. And he can say what he wants, and this is where he's comfortable, but he's never going to know what he can do until he sheds that extra person. All right, that's my opinion. Andy Ruiz is static with the potential to hit the top. Thanks.